Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another edition of 108 Stitches Baseball Talk. My name is Scott Morgan, we're out the Motor City Madmouth, always joined by Rick Curdy, but we have a new look tonight. We got a couple new teammates joining the program. First of all, we have Will Vogel. Will, give a basic introduction of yourself.
Hey guys, I'm Will Vogel. I'm one of four other hosts, a total of five of the Sideline Sports Show Basketball Bros, where we talk 2000s and back basketball. It is on Sunday nights at 7:30. We do it for an hour, and we do it before the NFL kicks off on Sunday Night Football. Scott just joined the team, and that's my background.
Very good. All right, Jordan Long, out in Western Colorado. Is that correct, my friend?
That is correct. I'm also part of Sideline Sports with Will. We in the basketball season, him and I are on the NBA Carousel, which is on Mondays at 8 p.m. Eastern time. I'm also on Confidential, which is on at 11 p.m. Eastern time. Also, I am also on the NFL Carousel, hosted by Eric Wilson of Sideline Sports on Thursdays at 5 p.m. Mountain Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And I also have my own show called Under Review that you can find on my blog at sports-scoop.com, which is recorded on Fridays and put on the Sideline Sports YouTube on Saturdays.
Well, and of course, we know about Rick Curdy. Rick, give everybody, let them know what you're about.
Well, I'm Rick Curdy, founder and CEO of the Charlotte Bats. We have a website, www.charlottebats.com. You can go on there and sign our petition to bring Major League Baseball to Charlotte, North Carolina. And I'm part of South Florida Tribune.
Yeah, Rick does a lot of great stuff for us social media-wise, and he appears on a lot of different shows throughout. So with that said, before we get to the topics tonight, subscribe to the South Florida Tribune on our YouTube channel or visit www.southfloridatribune.com and follow us on Twitter at Tribune South. So at Tribune South. To advertise, call 954-304-4941. The audio portion of the show can be heard on Spreaker, iHeartRadio. That's correct, iHeartRadio, Apple, Google, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Another thing is if you have difficulties finding the YouTube channel off our website, just go to youtube.com, look for South Florida Tribune, and please hit the subscribe button so that everybody will get all the different notifications that we have with the different types of shows we have. We have a variety with sports and non-sports related content. So we're looking forward to a good show. I always like to bring in new faces, especially when it comes to the Sideline group, because the South Florida Tribune are partners with Sideline on a lot of projects, and we are so happy to be aligned with such classy individuals like they are. The list goes on and on. JB Ellis is the guy I stay in contact, Eric Wilson, John Shear, Jake Malik, Jennifer Matthews, Lewis, and the list goes on. And I got two of them on tonight: Will Vogel, Jordan Long, Dom Garubis. Name a few other ones. Am I missing any? Otherwise, I'm going to get clobbered by you people.
Oh, there's too many of us.
There's way too many to list. We have a lot.
I think I did a bad job mentioning a lot of the particulars. With that said,
oh, you're good.
So we're going to have 4 topics tonight, and that's it. Plus, everybody has a chance to talk about something on their own. First one, obviously, is close in my backyard. Don Mattingly, no longer the Miami Marlins manager. So I'm not looking for the Marlins' next manager out of any of you guys, just so you know. So what I want to find out from each and every one of you is where will Don Mattingly land after the Marlins? All right, Jordan, lead off.
That's a tough one, just because, I like Don Mattingly. I like what he did with the Dodgers. Unfortunately, didn't really help in Miami. I mean, he had 7 years to really, help your team go into the playoffs. Unfortunately, 6 of the 7 years below 500. It's just not going to cut it. The only year they were in the playoffs was that COVID-shortened year where they swept the Cubs. I personally, I'm on Confidential, and we've talked all about how we want David Ross to go. I think, honestly, if David Ross goes, why not Don Mattingly? Also, here in Colorado, I've heard that Bud Black may be getting fired. That's a perfect fit, too. I mean, he's a baseball guy. Bud Black, he is a baseball guy, but he's more of a pitcher guy, and Don Mattingly is more of a guy that can, do all the positions. So I'd like Don Mattingly either in Chicago or Colorado. I think it would just make sense.
All right, I'm going to turn it over to Will Vogel. Where do you think Don Mattingly's next stop is?
So as a Yankee fan, I'm just saying this is a big if. If Aaron Boone does get let go, I would love a guy like Mattingly. He's familiar with the organization. He played for the guys, and it would just be cool to see a guy who was in the system of the Yankees manage the team just like Boone is doing currently. And don't get me wrong, Boone's a good manager, but I just feel like Mattingly would push the guys even further to another extent. And he knows baseball like the back of his head. And not saying Boone doesn't, but just Mattingly just knows it better, in my opinion. And Jordan said it right. Colorado would be an interesting one. They're a team that has struggled in a very tough NL West, along with the Giants, the Dodgers, and the Padres. And he would face his former team, the Dodgers. And he had great years with the Dodgers. Don't take that away. The Marlins part, that was hard because you lost Yelich, you lost Ozuna, and you lost, thinking of his name.
Giancarlo.
I can't.
Yeah, Giancarlo Stanton.
Oh, Stanton. And Stanton. So that doesn't help. So Cubs would be a good one. Cubs, it's a historic baseball team. He's like an old school manager. So, yeah, I could see definitely those three places. But the big if is, like I said, the Yankees, if they get rid of Boone.
All right, Rick.
Well, I agree with both of these guys that he should go to Chicago, but the other Chicago team, he would be the perfect fit for the Chicago White Sox. Tony La Russa ain't coming back. Right. He's already on some type of medical leave, which means he's not coming back. He would be perfect for the White Sox. I mean, you got an owner that wants to spend money. Unfortunately, with the Marlins, the owner didn't want to spend money. I don't blame Mattingly for that at all. That's ownership who is cheap. So the White Sox want to win. They have a roster that wants to win. He's a player manager. Tony La Russa, great manager, but that style of managing is gone. The Lou Pinellas, the Earl Weavers, the Tony La Russa, I'm in charge. They're not going to listen to you because it's a different generation. Mattingly is like Dusty Baker, a player's manager. And to me, the perfect fit, and if the White Sox want to win right now, is Don Mattingly, because to me, he is one heck of a manager and it's very unappreciated.
Well, it's amazing, Rick. You and I, maybe we've been working together too long because we think the same way. So, and I've worked with Mattingly the last 3 years. Unbelievable. One of the greatest people you'll ever meet. And he's very cooperative, very knowledgeable, and so forth. But the two places I could see him going would be, number one, the Chicago White Sox. Easily. People have to understand about Don Mattingly. He lives in Evansville, Indiana, so he's a Midwestern guy. So lives in Evansville, Indiana, Midwestern guy. And you know what? Well, New York Yankees would be the second choice of mine because he played in that system in the minor leagues, had 13 great years, and I still think that he's a Hall of Famer. And I think at some point he gets into the.
Oh yeah, he will.
But staying on.
I've real quick, Scott. I've got a wild card one for you. I don't know how desperate the Angels are, but if you could bring Mattingly in, maybe it convinces them to keep Ohtani. But maybe it's a little too late.
Artie Moreno is the problem. Artie Moreno needs to go.
I don't see it.
That's what I'm thinking. That's why I said wild card.
That's a wild card for sure. Yeah. Okay. I don't see Mattingly going to the Angels.
He wants to be in more of a.
I'm sorry, Jordan.
Mattingly wants to be in a place where he can win. That's the bottom line.
And they're not a winning team.
Exactly.
Artie Moreno. He's the problem.
He made the best of this situation in Miami based on the fact that the club was strapped. So I'll be curious to see who they go with. I'm not talking about tonight, so we don't have to go there anyhow. But no, well, I'm not so sure about the Angels.
No, that's why I said it's a wild
Well,
card.
like you said, it's a wild card, and you're right. It was a wild card. Okay.
They are looking for a manager, so it does kind of make sense there.
Well, they are. Although I'll tell you, you never know. Maybe the Phillies will probably not keep the interim guy, and Mattingly can end up there. I've seen crazier things happen.
That's true.
And he knows the division well, but I don't know. I'm going to stick to my top two choices, with the White Sox being number one, and number two, the Yankees. So, but that's pretty good. I like getting different viewpoints on Don Mattingly. I guess I can at least say that for myself. I've enjoyed working with him. He's just a phenomenal person. And
I bet. I would love to interview the guy.
He's such a great baseball mind too. That's what I like about
Mattingly.
Mattingly.
Greatest hitters during the '80s. It's amazing.
You guys want to listen a little bit about what's going on here? Just go to South Florida Tribune YouTube channel. A lot of Don Mattingly media availabilities, and yours truly always gets a few questions in when it's all said and done. It's been unbelievable. So yeah, I like it where you guys are going. I really do, Jordan. I see where you're going. By all means. And who knows? Maybe there'll be an opening up in Minnesota. You don't know, because they've underachieved as well. I could see him staying in the Midwest in the American League. And again, I know I'm throwing a lot of names, but I'm going to stick with the White Sox and the Yankees. And Will, give me your choices one more time.
Eliminate the Angels thing. I don't know what I was thinking. Give me the Yankees. Give me the Yankees. I don't think Boone. I think it's been for the last few years, World Series are bust for the Yankees, and the Astros are a threat. The Blue Jays are still a threat. So if we lose to one of them, I wouldn't be surprised if Cashman's like, you know what, we like you, but we haven't won a World Series in 13 years. It's been 13 long years. We had a chance a few years ago, but Chapman blew a save and gave up a home run. So I think personally, and I don't hate Aaron Boone, I think it's time for a change.
Okay. Jordan, one more time. And I know that there's thunderstorms in the background here. Hopefully the broadcast doesn't get interrupted because of the hurricane situation here. We're just going to move along the rest of
I said the Chicago Cubs just because I want a guy with managerial experience, and just being a little biased here in Colorado because I want another manager. I just say Mattingly just because he has experience. That's, of course, if they decide to fire in Chicago, if they fire David Ross, and because we've underachieved, or in Colorado, if they decide Bud Black to let him go, even though that there's 1 year left on his contract.
All right, we're going to move through the other topics a little bit quicker because I'm not sure what the weather is going to look like down here in Florida. You guys are well aware that things are getting a little tense here. Albert Pujols reaching 700 home runs. At least we don't have to worry about him coming back next year. He said he was never going to do it. Guess what? Not applicable. Rick, some brief thoughts about Albert reaching that milestone.
I'm very happy for Albert. He's a great guy, first ballot Hall of Famer. Him and Miguel Cabrera, two of the greatest right-handed hitters I've ever seen in my generation. Well-deserved. I mean, respect, champion, great guy, no scandals, never been accused of doping, played the game the right way, sort of like came out of nowhere, had a phenomenal rookie season, sort of like a Mike Piazza, just made a big splash in his rookie season, never looked back. He's just a phenomenal player. Probably won't see anyone like that in 20, 30 years in my lifetime. So hats off to Albert Pujols. I'm glad he reached 700. And I know he said this was his last year, and I do believe it, especially now that he reached 700. He has nothing to prove, and he'll be in the Hall of Fame, first ballot.
All right, well.
Rick hit it on the nose. I was fortunate to watch a majority of Albert Pujols' career. It was so much fun seeing him win those World Series for St. Louis. That was awesome. How he played in those games. He definitely deserved them. Happy he got 700. He has nothing else to prove. You're already a first ballot Hall of Famer. You're in the top 5 of all-time home runs. You're a Cardinal legend. One of the best foreign players of all time, up there with Clemente, Cabrera, him, and there's others on that list.
Mm-hmm.
But he was a guy I liked watching alongside Miggy Cabrera, Yadi Molina. Like, we're losing great players soon. We're losing Yadi. We're losing Miggy Cabrera. We're losing Pujols. Salvi Perez is retiring soon. Like, this guy was just a joy to watch, and he'll be missed, definitely. And like Rick said, when are we going to see the next Albert Pujols? It could be a while.
All right, Jordan.
Pretty much, you guys have said it. I mean, I was lucky enough to see Albert Pujols when he signed with the Angels over in spring training. I go to spring training in Arizona all the time. I got to see his power. I think he had 2 home runs that day. But the thing that bugged me about the 700 is, unless you had Apple TV, you couldn't see it. I'm glad he did it, but I wish Major League Baseball, I know it's a network, contract thing, but I wish we could have seen it. But definitely a first ballot Hall of Famer. The best thing, though, is St. Louis is going to be in the playoffs. He likes 700, but he wants to win a ring. I think if he can win it this year and go out a winner, that'd be the perfect storybook ending for him.
Jordan, you're amazing, pal. So I'll just make it short and sweet. Number one, glad he made 700, and I'd love to see him walk away with a World Series ring. The ultimate way to go on top is hit the 700 mark and win a World Series. End of the story. Next topic of the night, Dusty Baker joins an exclusive club, becoming one of 4 managers to lead an AL and National League team to 100-win seasons. He joins the likes of Sparky Anderson, Whitey Herzog, and Tony La Russa. Some observations, Jordan, on Dusty Baker.
It's pretty amazing to see Dusty do what he's doing. He's been a manager for quite some time, and I didn't realize looking through it that he only won 100 games once before this. It was with the San Francisco Giants in 1993. I mean, he's been close with 900 plus wins with his teams, but now he's done it in Houston. The thing about it is it's a great accomplishment, but I think he wants to win a World Series. Yes, it's great, winning 100 games, don't get me wrong, but he wants that World Series title, and he hasn't quite gotten there yet. He did it with the Giants to win the pennant, close with the Cubs in 2003, and of course last year with the Houston Astros. Great accomplishment, but I think he wants to win a World Series more than anything.
All right, Will, turn it over to you.
Jordan hit it again. Yeah, he definitely needs that World Series title. I still think he's one of the best managers of all time, even if he somehow doesn't win a World Series as a manager. He also has a lot of other great accomplishments. But first off, that company he's in with that you listed, Whitey Herzog and those guys, what a list. What a list. Great list.
Mm-hmm.
He's also the first manager in MLB history to lead 5 different clubs to division titles. He's the 9th manager to win a AL and NL pennant. And he's the 12th manager and the first African-American manager to win 2,000 wins, has 2,000 wins. So this guy's accomplished a lot. Like Jordan said, he is missing that elusive World Series title, but still, when you're in the company of Whitey Herzog, Tony La Russa, and those guys, man, you did something right.
Anderson. Well, I know one thing about Will Vogel, okay? The man does his homework and does it really good. Good job. All right, we'll turn over to Rick Curdy. Go ahead.
As much as I detest the Astros, because I'm a Dodger fan, and I say I detest the Astros, I have nothing but respect for Dusty Baker. Always have, always will. I would love for him to win a World Series ring. Yes, even with the Astros, I want him to win a World Series ring because I'm rooting for Dusty, not the Astros. And
Same.
World Series or not, he's a Hall of Famer. He's one of the best managers of our time. He's going to the Hall of Fame, whether he wins a ring or not. But if he does, and I do believe he'll win a ring, to me, he's going to the Hall of Fame, and he's one of the best managers. Very underrated manager, very even keel guy. But everywhere he goes, he wins. American, National League, doesn't matter. And he took a tattered team, a controversial team as the Astros, and man, he's been fantastic for them. So good for him. I'm like I said about the Astros, but I would love for him to win a World Series ring, but it's going to be the Dodgers here this year.
Yeah, well, it's amazing how you say that, Rick. He walked into the Hornets' nest in Houston and stabilized that situation. But name an individual in their right mind who wouldn't be rooting for Dusty Baker to win the World Series, let alone Albert Pujols. And that's why these are all tied in. When you put yourself in the conversation with Whitey Herzog, Sparky Anderson, Tony La Russa, you've done a lot. So, yeah, I'm definitely pulling for Dusty to win it all the way. Last topic of the night, I know everybody will do our parting shots here. New York Yankees are contemplating designating Aroldis Chapman. And here's the deal. If Chapman, okay? 34 years of age, has the worst career numbers wise. I'll go over a few of them. 4.36 earned run average. Lost to closing jobs, been dealing with multiple injuries. I don't think New York plans to bring him back in 2023. His record 3-3, 39 games, 38 Ks, 25 base on balls. You know, Aroldis Chapman, we all know, is a flamethrower for sure. But boy, I'll tell you one thing: when the Cubs went ahead and milked every ounce of velocity out of them, they were smart. Yeah, you're not going to stay here and win us the World Series. He did that. So the Cubs were brilliant the way they handled his situation. I know, Jordan, you're laughing at it, you're smiling. Take it from here.
The thing about Chapman, and I get it from the Yankees' perspective, like you said, Scott, hasn't had the best season. He's 3-3, only 9 saves. So I get it from that standpoint. But the Yankees as a whole, no offense, Will, you guys haven't played very well in the second half. 30-30, at least you're in the postseason.
You're right.
But the thing that really confuses me about this whole situation, yes, I know Aroldis has been hurt, but 35, this guy has postseason experience. 35 postseason games with a record of 3-4 and ERA of 2.40. I get he's not the closer, but he could actually help your bullpen. But I guess the Yankees aren't thinking that. They want to get a little younger in the bullpen. They want to have a chance to win and actually do something. So I get it from that standpoint. So it doesn't surprise me that this is happening.
All right, well.
Yeah, the Cubs used him exactly correctly. And as a Yankee fan, I think we should DFA him. He has been injured lately. His ERA is the worst in his career this year. He struggles in the postseason recently. And I would rather see other guys get a shot like Clay Holmes, who's young. You got Jonathan Loaizaga, who's fairly young. You got Scott Efros. You got Wandy Peralta. So I get it. Like, he has the experience, but he just doesn't get the job done anymore. And when the game's on the line, like a few years ago, he gave up a home run that sent the Astros to the World Series, and he doesn't have the it anymore. He doesn't have that 100 plus mile an hour pitch, but he may, but it just is not effective anymore, and players are learning to hit off him so much better. So, as a Yankee fan, I say DFA him.
All right, Rick.
Yeah, they need to get rid of him. I think he's got dead arm. I think, like I said, the Cubs just used him. He did what he was supposed to do. Bye. Here you go. Go get him, Yankees. We don't need him no more because his arm is dead. He's just got a dead arm. That's what happens when you throw so fast for so many years. Your arm is eventually going to get, tired, and he just has a tired, dead arm. He's 34 years old. He's just not the same pitcher anymore. I think, he's getting older now. People are getting smarter now. They've adjusted to him. He doesn't, like you said, like Will said, doesn't have that it factor no more. That intimidation that he had once is gone, and nobody are afraid of him. He hasn't performed well, and I think the Yankees will get rid of him, and so he'll go somewhere else. But I just think his arm is dead.
Yeah, first of all, he came out like gangbusters, I believe, with the Cincinnati Reds, and then he's moved around there, so he threw pretty hard when it was with the Reds. And we know the Cubs masterminded their way to get a world.
Didn't he go Yankees, Cubs, Yankees?
I believe so, because the Cubs, he was with the Yankees, Cubs traded for him, and they went back to the Yankees when he could have stayed with the Cubs, but the Cubs didn't want him. I believe he had a bigger contract with the Yankees, and that's why he chose the Yankees over the Cubs.
Yeah, you're right. Well, I mean, remember, though, he started out with the Reds, but Rick summed it up best. I don't have to elaborate much further than that. He has a dead arm. He's tired. And when you throw 100 miles an hour for a long time, that's going to happen. We've seen that all too many times. So I guess my thinking is along the lines, yes, well, you're right. Designate him for assignment. That's what I would do. I think his better days are behind. Maybe he'll land somewhere next year. He probably will. But he'll end up going to a small market team that's willing to take a chance on him. I wouldn't actually, as strange as this may seem, I wouldn't be surprised if the Milwaukee Brewers would throw their hat into the Aroldis Chapman.
Because they lost.
It was Josh Hader,
yeah.
Exactly. That's why I'm just throwing it out there, guys. Do what you want with it. I wouldn't be surprised to see Aroldis Chapman land with the Brewers. Once upon a time, CC Sabathia played, although then he graduated to the Yankees. So, I don't know. Throw it out there. Comment, any way you want to. Don't really care, but that's what I'm going to do. So, but I think the right move is definitely designate for assignment. His better days were behind a dead arm. So with that said, now we're going to take our parting shots. Jordan, what's up? Talk to me.
So my parting shot is with the Rockies not making the playoffs for the fourth year in a row. It really feels like Bud Black is the odd man out. I know he has 1 year left, but this is not the Rockies general manager Bill Schmidt's hire. Black was actually hired by Jeff Bridich, who resigned on April 26, 2021. Schmidt took over on October 2nd. It really feels like Schmidt, if he fires him, he wants to find his own guy to fill that hole as manager. I would not be surprised if that is the case because, as we all know, general managers want to go out and hire their own guy. So if that happens, good for Schmidt. It means that, it's another rebuilding for the Rockies. But if you look at Bud Black, yeah, we got the 2 playoff appearances under him, but otherwise, not so much. I mean, his record is 414 to 447, a winning percentage of 0.481, and this year is 65 and 88. It's just not good enough. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him go and bring new blood into the managerial role for the Colorado Rockies because that honestly needs to happen.
All right, Will, what do you got?
All I've got to say to Yankees fans and MLB fans is relax. I know there's like 9 games left, but Aaron Judge is going to get the home run record. I don't care what people says. I know he hasn't hit a home run in a week. And yes, it's kind of cause for concern, and we love seeing the long ball, but he's going to get it. So, guys, don't worry. He's going to get it. He's going to pass Maris. Do I think he's going to get close to 70? No. But do I think he's going to get like 63? Yes. So, Yankees fans, MLB fans, relax. He's going to get the record for the AL.
All right, Rick.
Well, I was going to go in a totally different direction with my party shot, but Jordan and Will gave me a great idea about managerial changes and stuff like that. And I want to talk about the Cubs because I do love the Cubs. Wrigley Field's a great place, legendary place. But the Ross hiring to me was baffling. If the Cubs want to be in contention, and I don't know if they want to be, I don't know if they're trying to rebuild or they're tanking on purpose. I don't know what's going on with the Cubs. But if they want to contend, the person that would be the perfect managerial hire would be Joe Girardi. He played for the Cubs. He was a catcher for the Cubs. He's from Illinois. He went to Northwestern University. I know people think about him as a Yankee, but in my days, I remember him as a Cub. Great catcher. He's a great manager, like Don Mattingly, just a great, terrific manager. I thought the Phillies, when he went there, was just a bad spot for him because they're so brutal.
He was under the tutelage of Torrey.
Yeah, I mean, perfect. And I just think he's the last guy to win the World Series for the Yankees. So, go to the Cubs. He will do great there, but that's only if the Cubs want to contend. And right now, I don't know if that's what they want to do. So the Ross thing, he needs to go. I hated that hire from the beginning.
Well, you know what, Rick? I'll add a little bit of fuel to what you're saying. I actually spent time with Joe Girardi last week at Marlins Park, and I talked to him. I did. He was actually up in the media lounge because he's doing some part-time broadcasting for the Cubs right now. So you know that him and Don Mattingly were talking at the batting cage. So, I was asking Joe, how are things going? We didn't do anything recorded because obviously I had the double header I do on Wednesday night. And he told me he'd like to manage again, right situation. He told me he's happy that he's broadcasting, but full well, he's around my age, a little bit under, that he's ready to go back, and he will. Cubs is an ideal landing spot. So, Rick, I agree with you again. GMTA. Okay, great minds think alike. So I have a couple of closing thoughts of my own. First of all, I applaud the hiring for the Detroit Tigers as general manager. Scott Harris comes from the Theo Epstein and also did pretty good things with MLB and the Giants. That's item number 1. Number 2, the real parting shot is going to be at Kim Ng. Okay. Kim, you didn't hire Don Mattingly. I get it. But I asked her during the media availability when the announcement was made, okay, Kim, let's talk about the offense. What do you plan to do to upgrade that offense? Because apparently you made attempts to go out there and do it, and they didn't work. You have good pitching, but your offense needs work. And she addressed it. That is an area of concern. So, but now Kim Ming has to get it right, okay, for two reasons. One, she's a female. She'll be judged because of her success to give more opportunities to females. And number two, if she doesn't get this hire right, I hate to say this, her neck will be the next one on the chopping block. That's what I think. So, Kim, now that Don's out of the way, let's see what you can do and bring in a manager. We don't know what direction they're going to head in. Time will tell. We'll address that on a future edition of 108 Stitches Baseball Talk. But the one, to me, that's under fire is Kim Ng, period. That's what I think. She, for a lot of reasons. You know, you want to keep putting in 8, 10, 12,000 people in Marlins Park, go ahead and do it. And they didn't get to get the team healthier, but she's under fire. And that is my parting shot for the night, Kim. You need to get this hire right. Everybody knows that when Derek Jeter left, there were some red flags. Now Don Mattingly's gone, or will be at the end of next week. All right, Kim, show me what you've got. All right, great show tonight, guys. I really enjoyed everything y'all brought to the table. So with that said, Jordan Long, let everybody know how they can get a hold of you. But before you do that, subscribe to the South Florida Tribune on our YouTube channel or visit www.southfloridatribune.com. And follow us on Twitter at Tribune South. Advertise, call 954-304-4941. The audio portion of the show can be heard on Spreaker, iHeartRadio, Apple, Google, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. And as I alluded to beforehand, if you can't find it through the website, just go to youtube.com, look for South Florida, hit the subscribe button. A couple other things I want to mention. Hats off to Candy Ebling. Does a remarkable job getting all of her content on the website. More importantly, she does an even better job getting the shows up in a timely manner as well. So, and if you want to reach us with any comments, contact us at southfloridatribune@gmail.com. All right, Jordan, go ahead.
So you can follow me and see what blogs I've written at sports-scoop.com. Also follow me on Twitter at sportsscoop1.
All right, Will.
So there's many different ways you can reach me, but if you guys want to see any stuff I'm on for Sideline Sports Monday night during the season, I'm on the NBA Carousel. I am also on Sunday nights with Scott on Basket Bros. So those are the best ways you can watch my content.
Very good. Rick?
You can find me on my website, www.charlottebats.com. Sign the petition to bring MLB to Charlotte. I'm on Facebook on Charlotte MLB, Charlotte Bats Baseball. I'm on Twitter at Charlotte Bats. Instagram is Charlotte Bats. And you can also find me on LinkedIn under Rick Curti, CURTI. If you have any comments or questions, you can email me at cotbatsbaseball@gmail.com.
All right. Something I should point out is the South Florida Tribune is really delighted that we can use a lot of sideline sports commentators. They're all fantastic, and what a great relationship we've worked to build with them. Just truly remarkable. I'm looking forward to going. Just so you guys should know out there, I'll be back for a next edition of 108 Stitches Baseball Talk. Will be here either next week or we'll take it off. But we're going out to Candy Ebling and I are going out to Talladega to cover the race, NASCAR race there, and I had a recent great opportunity out in Miami to drive one of those cars that went 147.54 miles an hour around that 1.5 mile oval. And if that wasn't adrenaline rush, I don't know what the heck it is. So, and I'm looking forward to telling everybody about it. But I'm looking forward to Jordan and Will being frequent contributors on 108 Stitches Baseball Talk. And in my opinion, there is a pun intended. You guys hit a grand slam home run with your commentary and your research, and that's one of the things I really judge when I have guys on here. I want to make sure that everybody has an equal opportunity to express themselves. And when you guys research as well as I can, I understand why Jordan and Will get well together. The chemistry there, I have it with Rick. And it was so fun of being able to bring 4 people that have never worked together on one shot and have a very enjoyable, fluent broadcast where everybody's able to bring the key elements. You want to have energy, enthusiastic, and information. And in my opinion, you guys definitely had a grand slam in all of those areas. So, meanwhile, thank you very much for joining us on this edition of 108 Stitches Baseball Talk. On behalf of Rick Curti, Will Vogel, and Jordan Long, my name is Scott Morganroth. Thank you for joining us, and we will catch you the next time. Good night, everybody. Be safe. And for all you folks in Florida, please cover up and do what you have to do. certainly don't want nothing to happen to any of y'all. I mean, this is a very stressful time in our state. And I know that there's probably a lot of rain that'll be hitting the Charlotte area at some point. Hopefully it isn't too bad. And Jordan, well, you got the mountains, so I guess you don't have any weather issues at the moment. But we're glad that we're able to get this broadcast through in its entirety. And I'm proud of every one of you guys. You guys did an unbelievable job. And looking forward to seeing the continuity in this group grow for sure. So once again, folks, thanks for joining us on this edition of 108 Stitches Baseball Talk. We'll catch you another time. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
All right.